I am just a woman. I just want you to text me and say, hey, I miss you. I've been thinking about you and I want to see you. Let me come see you. You bring light into my soul. Is that too much to ask? A little bit of romance? I've been romanticizing my life forever. I'm tired.
Welcome, brothers. In today's video, we're going to talk about why the dating market is so complicated for women right now, why more and more women are finding themselves alone and complaining about it. But before we dive in, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share your experiences in the comments, as this helps the algorithm recommend our content to more men who may need it.
This might be dramatic. I'm not saying that it's not. Is anyone else just tired of dating? I literally just sat in my car for 20 minutes crying because I'm so tired of pointless conversations and meaningless interactions with people that go absolutely nowhere. And by the way, no one has hurt my feelings. Nothing has happened to trigger this except for me just realizing, like, what is the point? Truly, like, no one dates with intention and actually wants anything serious, and it's just like constant disappointment. And I'm just tired of having that negative energy in my life. But I also feel like I'm getting older and it's like I have to put some effort into dating or I'm just gonna be alone forever. But now I'm just honestly getting to a point where I'm just gonna be the single aunt, and I think I'm okay with that.
Brothers, the wall doesn't forgive. Here, I want you to notice two things he said. One, that she knows she's getting older, and the other, that she's becoming the old spinster aunt, and if she doesn't make an effort to find someone, she'll die alone. The new paradigm for women these days is knowing that she's becoming that friend, sister, or cousin, the spinster at the core of her group of friends, who can't find a relationship, who doesn't have children, and who becomes more uncomfortable with that situation every day. The wall, just like time, doesn't forgive, and if she doesn't get her act together, she might end up alone forever. But don't worry, because there will always be a handsome cat for her.
I'm going to tell you if you're investing too much into your relationship and why you need to stop. It can be really hard sometimes when you are the one investing in a relationship as a woman, because it just breaks you down gradually over time, and he doesn't want the same things and you don't know what it is, and you keep giving him excuses for everything he does. But this is a really tangible tip that I'm going to give you. Look at your text conversation, and I know it's not all about text and conversations and all this stuff, but look at your text conversations. If you're leaving messages like this, describing your day, asking him how he is, and his is like, okay, cool, or yeah, that's funny, you are investing too much energetically into that relationship. And everyone's going to comment, especially men, saying, what, maybe he's just a man of few words. If he is a man of few words and you have seen that you're investing so much into the conversation and he's okaying you, if he is a man of few words and you pull back and you start to give him the same type of interaction, he will then see you a lot. You will just then interact a lot. My husband is somebody who doesn't text a lot, but he's certainly calling me all the time. He's certainly trying to see me all the time. So you'll be seeing him all the time. You'll realize he's just not a texter. But more likely than not, when you pull back and you stop investing so much energetically, because it is your energy, it's your thoughts. You have just spilt something out onto the page. You've told him how you feel. You've told him about your day, and there's no reciprocation, no reaction. Then you're going to ask me why you have low self-esteem. This is why you have low self-esteem, because you keep putting into something that is not flourishing. You keep putting into something that doesn't want you back. You keep trying to push energy where it's not needed and it's not flowing. So stop it. Give it back the same. It's a very tangible way to see if you're doing too much, and it's not good for you.
Have you ever noticed that with modern women, it's all about receiving? If a man doesn't give you love, if a man doesn't give you time, if a man doesn't give you money, if a man doesn't take you on trips, the point is that a man always has to give something for her to be happy. This is what this dating coach is selling them. The problem is that she's selling them empty advice because they themselves are single without a man. So, women buy into these nonsense ideas, end up even lonelier because they believe they deserve more without contributing anything. Let me tell you something, a man who has time to text all day is a loser. Clearly, because that man is not building himself, not working on himself, seemingly not doing anything but talking. So, on the other side of the coin, the more attention he gives them, the more he ghosts you, the more they ignore you, and the less they want you. That's just how they are. They like the ones who ignore them.
Being a female in today's society, you just can't fucking win. If you fuck too many guys, okay, you're a slut, you're a whore, no one wants you. But then, if you're a virgin, it's like, okay, well, like, I can't hit, so, like, what's the fucking point of talking to this girl? Like, I don't want her either. But what really fucking pisses me off is when people tell me, Susie, you're too masculine. Like, what are you trying to compensate for? Like, why are you so angry, so volatile? You act like a fucking man. Why would a man want you? No shit, I'm fucking angry and masculine. When you go through shit, you change, you act different, but guess what? I love being masculine. I love the traits that I have. Why? Because the career I'm going into, I wouldn't even have if it wasn't for those traits. And guess what? Males are only intimidated by girls like that because they know that those types of girls will never fucking need them. Because those types of girls are 100% self-reliant. And it really pisses me off because then if you're not 100% self-reliant and you do depend on a guy, right? You know, but you look pretty, you do the dishes, you clean, well then you're useless. And then you're a female that does nothing and you're a fuck maid, basically. Like, you act like they're fucking mommy. So you can literally not win as a female. So do whatever you want. Do whatever the fuck you want. Because males are gonna bitch anyways. Because if you're not fitting their needs, they don't give a shit. If you're not fitting the profile of what they need at that point in time, what they need in a woman, because they're so fucking insecure that they need specific things. That way you can cater to them in whatever way that they'd like. Just fucking do what you want. Because guess what? You're not gonna win anyways. And the real, actual man will love you for you.
Susan, people are right. You come across as very masculine. Imagine spending a whole day with this woman. If she gets angry, trust me, I wouldn't want to hear that mouth. She knows what her flaws are but does nothing to fix them and instead blames men for not taking responsibility. Just by looking at her way of speaking, her gestures, and body language, she seems like another man. I don't know what she studied, but she really got into the role of masculine energy. Another thing, where does this idea come from that men don't approach these women because they're intimidated? The truth is, men don't approach them because they feel like they're talking to another man, being treated like a man. They aren't sweet, they aren't kind, and they lack the qualities that a feminine woman brings to a relationship with a submissive, accommodating energy for her man. Don't you agree, brothers?
Why would men, or should men, ever take on half of the domestic labor in their house? When for centuries, they have been told that the only thing that they need to do to be a participant in a marriage and a relationship is to bring home a paycheck. So why now, all of a sudden, would they find the need to become an equal partner in a relationship, in a marriage, to distribute the domestic labor, the child care, equally between their partner? Why now? What's in it for men? Why would they do something when for so long they have benefited from us doing everything and them not having to lift a finger more than going to work and bringing home money? Since the moment you two got together, you have cooked his dinners, done his laundry, fed his dogs, done everything for him. And now you're expecting him to equally divide the domestic and household labor? Why? Why would he want to do that? You've done everything for him for so long since you two have been together. That doesn't benefit him anymore. He has been benefiting this entire time from you making his appointments, reminding him to get his oil changed, reminding him to feed his dog, reminding him to register his car, reminding him to go get his vaccines, reminding him to schedule a haircut, maybe even scheduling it for him. Why would he want to use more of his brain now to make things more equal when he has been benefiting from you doing it the whole time? Stop doing it. Matter of fact, don't even start doing it. If you are to the point where you are serious in a relationship with a man, that you are starting to find yourself reminding him of things, or cooking him dinner, or doing his dishes, or picking up his apartment for him, stop. You are not his mother. Do not mother that man. He doesn't need another mother. He needs an equal partner. Absolutely do not move in together yet. If that man lives on his own and takes care of himself, he manages to feed himself, he manages to bathe himself, he manages to have clean clothes for work, he does not need you to do it for him. And that is setting you up for failure in the long run. Because if you start doing it now, you're never going to be able to stop. because that's what he's going to come to expect from you. He doesn't have to do his laundry, you'll just do it. He doesn't have to make his appointments, you'll just do it. He doesn't have to cook dinner, you'll just do it. He doesn't have to do the dishes, you'll just do it. He starts assuming things are going to get done by you because you've started doing it. Don't start. If you do choose to move in together, I have some words of advice. Sit down and discuss how things are going to be divided up equally between the two of you. How are finances going to be divided? How is the housework going to be divided? You have absolutely no reason to take on his burden on you. Do not make his appointments. Do not remind him of things. Simply set out as you mean to go on. There is no benefit in this for you in doing any of those extra things for him. So stop doing it.
Here's the wonderful advice from a woman who isn't married, but she's conjuring it from her imagination. But here's a point that I always hear women discussing, which contradicts them. A man who's in the top 10% is a man who focuses on working. If he's a man who earns a six-figure income, has a nice house, a good car, and covers your expenses, what do you truly bring to his life? If you don't work or even help with household chores, not saying it's easy, but it's often easier than some jobs, that man can't even find food on the table. What do you contribute to his life? Furthermore, in today's world, what man doesn't know how to clean? Usually, men nowadays spend time alone unless they live with their mothers, and I believe almost everyone knows how to clean, do some cooking, take care of themselves as functioning adults. The problem is that men like this, who also earn their own money, see more advantages in living in separate homes, you in your place, me in mine. They take care of themselves, work, clean, share moments of passion with you, but they don't want to get married or commit because they don't depend on a woman. They find it more comfortable to live the single life or just be in a relationship.
What is your plan B if nobody marries you?
There's no plan B, it's plan A. There's nothing wrong with being unmarried, happy, and independent.
Men are the majority of victims of public sphere violence.
I'm not saying that any of those statistics or male suicide, any of that stuff exists, because it does. Men are the victims of more workplace violence, workplace suicides, low enrollment rates. That said, that's not systematic oppression in society.
Really? I think that when a 6-year-old girl can hit another child and get away with it and never ever have to suffer retaliation because he's a boy. Okay? I think that's systematic. How? Because if the system intervenes and punishes the boy for hitting back, right? It's systematic.
Because we hear the same argument. What, you're saying that it should be okay to hit women? Nobody should be hitting anybody in the first place. Hit back. You can hit back. You shouldn't
it's okay for a woman to hit a man?
What?
Why does feminism say it's okay to hit a man?
Feminism does not say that it's okay to hit
Okay.
a man.
Thank you for the questions. Okay,
Brothers, you can see that this is a talk for men, but a woman comes in to express her opinion and make everything revolve around them because they need attention. These feminists play the victim card very well. As you can see, she said, I know these statistics exist, but women are victims of men. In the end, brother, you have to change the narrative in my favor. It is well known that the state does not protect a man, even in a false accusation. Nowadays, the most powerful weapon a man has against abuse from a woman is his phone because it has a camera where he can record everything. There are women who have destroyed a man's private property and nothing happens. There are women who falsely accuse men of violence, especially during divorce proceedings, and nothing happens. There are women who physically assault men in public or private, and nothing happens. When they are caught, and it is evident that she committed the crime, only if it's within less than a month, she goes back to the same behavior, and nothing happens because she is a woman. How much abuse from older women towards younger men do you see nowadays? Almost none, brother. Let me tell you that it exists. However, when it involves a man and a minor, which I'm not saying is right or denying it, this man rots in jail. The system is so flawed that if you go and file a complaint or request a restraining order, you need more evidence or sometimes end up being ridiculed. When you are a victim, brother, Being a man is difficult in a system that discriminates against you as the villain just for existing.
A world where more and more men are single because women do not want to date them is a world that's very dangerous for women, which is why I worry about retaliation in reaction to the rise of single men. We actually have data from this year that shows young women are way less interested in dating than young men are. And we have data to show that more women than men are single because they simply cannot find someone they are interested in dating. 38% of single American women say the main reason they're not dating is they can't find someone that meets their expectations, compared to only 23% of men say the same thing. College-educated women are the group most likely to say they are single because they can't find someone that meets their expectation, 45%. And I can hear the men in my comments now saying, see, it's women's fault. They have too high of expectation and that's why everyone is single and lonely. But let me remind you that women have always entered into marriages with the expectation that it is going to materially improve their lives. We needed husbands for financial security. We needed them for bank accounts, for credit cards, to have a house to live in. And now women are doing better than men. We are more educated. We are stable on our own. And women who are independent and self-sustaining do not need to get married. When you don't financially need a husband or a partner, you can say, I'm not going to get a partner until I find one that's emotionally supportive, emotionally intelligent, doesn't need me to be his therapist and his mom, doesn't need me to do all the childcare, all the housework. And men will tell you, they do in my comments every single day, that these expectations are just simply too much. I fear for escalating retaliation that this will cause interpersonally between men and women, and also in legislative and policy decisions, like the push to get rid of no-fault divorce, in the rolling back of reproductive rights, and with things like student debt and college affordability. They're not going to make college more affordable when more women going to college results in higher expectations of the men that want to date us. So yeah, that's why I worry about retaliation of men who cannot make it worth it for women to want to date and marry them.
These same women are the ones who later complain about not finding a man. Those who complain because men leave the country to marry foreigners. Those who complain because men choose to be alone. Those who complain about not finding a man for marriage. And we see it daily in these videos because when you're 25, your face is still young. And you don't need any man because you have fun with the current Chad. But at 35, without children, that burden begins to weigh on you. It's true that with greater financial power in women, their standards increase. Many will say they don't want a man financially. But to this day, I've never seen a millionaire woman dating a guy from McDonald's for his good feelings. Let's be honest, women's hypergamy doesn't change. If you don't bring more to the table than she does, she won't want you. Why do you think almost all successful women with careers or doctorates are single? It's because there are no men at their level. No, brothers, it's because a man will go for the pretty girl in the cafe, not the one at his economic level. It's easier to see successful men and women together when they both meet while studying, get married, and improve each other. But a woman at the top only wants a winner, and a man at the top only wants a young, beautiful, and fertile woman who doesn't work. Why do you think this happens? Because even though these women contribute financially, no one can stand them. They have the character of a man, they are hyper-independent, and they are not women who let themselves be led. No man can tolerate that headache, which is why most hit the wall, because the wall does not forgive.
Women, stop saying I don't need men. It's a poisonous attitude. There is this belief in our society that somehow it's a good thing for women to not need a man. But do you know what you are doing when you're saying this? For men, it is one of the most important needs to be valuable and useful for the people he loves, and especially for the woman in his life. If he feels that you don't need him, he will feel that he doesn't bring anything to the relationship. It will make his self-esteem go down, and he will just become passive and really, really sad. So if you want to do something really good for your relationship, always give your man this feeling that, yeah, he's so important to you and that he brings a lot to your life, and let him help you with things. Let him, carry stuff for you, give him let him give you advice, like just cherish him as a important person in your life that you 100% value, and I promise you that it will do wonders for your relationship.
Brothers, many women today say there are no gentlemen, but when a man simply opens the door for them out of politeness, this woman ridicules him, wanting to accuse him of being oppressive because being chivalrous is seen as enforcing the patriarchy. If a woman is financially independent, if a woman can do everything, Why does she need a man? As a man, you don't find your place because you're not a team. You feel like a tool that will be used at some point. Men are connected to the energy of building and fixing things. When that is taken away from us, we can no longer protect. That's why more and more people are becoming self-sufficient machines, doing everything. The idea that men don't help at home is outdated. Most men live alone unless they live in a dump. Of course, they can clean or cook, something every responsible individual should do. This is why every man now wonders what this woman brings to the table. Many women are bothered by this because they can only offer presence, which degrades over time, while a man does the same but also contributes material and economic value, as well as the security of a home. These women don't offer any of that. They don't even want to clean their own roof. That's why more and more men are leaving the country for more traditional cultures. They can't stand the women here who constantly minimize everything they do. That's why they hit the wall more and more each day.
I was a feminist when feminism was about equality, about levelling the playing field, giving women an opportunity to find their rightful place, particularly in the public world, which was tremendously important and exciting when we achieved that. But what feminism today, to me, is all about advantaging women at the expense of men. And it's become very much caught up in the demonisation of males, presenting them always at a disadvantage. And I don't want to have any part of that. I was writing recently about boys' education, which is something I've written about for many decades. And I came across an article I wrote 40 years ago where we just started to notice how badly boys were doing vis-a-vis girls. I mean, we'd had 10 years of programs trying to help girls do better in the schools, which was fantastic. And a lot of girls who had been held back by traditional assumptions about, girls not speaking up and girls not doing well in maths were now beginning to shine, which was a fantastic thing. But what was becoming very obvious is there were also a lot of boys falling behind and not achieving their potential. We have really very much feminist ideology infiltrating all our education systems, systematic programs to continue to advantage girls, and no one taking any notice of the fact that boys are falling out in huge numbers.
This woman has her feet on the ground. She sees reality. This often happens when a woman has sons. She witnesses the systematic abuse against her children. Many don't see it either, leading to the feminization of her son. The system is producing more working women to increase taxes in the workforce. That's why the number of women over 30 in managerial or high-ranking positions in companies is increasing every day, some based on merit and others on a pretty face. The more you attack men, the more they become marginalized. Why do you think the suicide rate among men is so high? Why do you think more men are secluded at home? Why do you think more men feel lonely? Why do you think more men turn to vices? Men have been feeling more useless over time. Unfortunately, this will continue to happen because, just as there is an increase in single women, there is also an increase in divorce and single mothers. Most children nowadays lack a father figure, making many children weaker. Why do you think strong men are under attack nowadays? Why do you think women are bothered by red pill rhetoric? Why do you think figures like Andrew Tate are so controversial? These men and discourses remind men of their masculinity, of feeling superior, of moving forward, and working towards their goals. That's why I always say, work on yourself, prioritize yourself in your life because you are the most important person in your own life.
So I'm currently doing the lit review for my PhD, and I'm studying feminism, misogyny, and networked activism. And so I'm having to kind of think a lot about the work that I do on TikTok and my own feminist beliefs and what I think the real role of feminism is today. And what I've realised is that the main battle that feminists should be fighting now is against capitalism and the impact of capitalism on women globally. I've just finished reading this book, which I highly recommend. But one area of that book that really piqued my interest was domestic labour, and just how important it is that domestic labour is not properly compensated or recognised in a functioning capitalist society. And if that sounds backwards, it's because it is. The whole capitalist model operates on the premise that there's a few people at the top that make profit off of the vast majority of people beneath them working harder for less money. People work harder than they need to, and that surplus labour is the profit for the business. So capitalism loves surplus and it loves free work. And what is some of the greatest free work that's done in our society? childcare, child rearing, childbirth. Having children is essential to the sustenance of any society, but in capitalism, they're not just people that are continuing the next generation, they're the next generation of workers, most importantly. And reproductive labour, i.e. the work that goes into reproducing yourselves to create another generation of workers, is disproportionately undertaken by women. Obviously, you've got the physical element of like women actually being the ones to give birth and breastfeed and things like that, but you also have the fact that for a very privileged group of women like myself, you know, if we want to then contribute successfully to a capitalist society, the best thing we can do is outsource a lot of the caring labour, i.e., you know, the raising of the kids and the looking after of the kids, to another woman who is less privileged, so that we can go off and have our high-flying jobs and careers, and this other woman can look after our children for us, so that we can go and have nice lives. And then the chain continues until you get to less and less privileged women. Under a capitalist society, the best model we can be offered as women is one which shifts all of the reproductive labour off to less privileged women, so that we can enter a level playing field with the men and try and compete for that top tier privileged job, economic, social security. And that's why this whole you can have it all pseudo-feminist narrative is really toxic, because it's only accessible to an extremely privileged few. Most women still will struggle to actually make it to the top in their workplaces anyway, because productive labour and reproductive labour is still inherently gendered in our society. So there's still a broken rung on the career ladder for women getting up to management level. Women still have to work a second shift at home, and all that undervalued work goes to creating the ultimate commodity, the next generation of workers.
Due to these absurdities, the green and pink hair movement is gaining ground every day, believing they are oppressed. How many women do we see nowadays without children in the workplace, realizing that they contribute nothing and cannot climb high corporate ranks due to their lack of ability? How many privileges do companies grant women just so they can have children and spend time with their families? The problem lies in a capitalist society where everyone wants money. Women no longer want to form a team, they want their own money. Did you hear this woman mention her spouse at any point? Of course not. She's a single mother. Even if both partners work, they should support each other. Nowadays, many women don't want to give up their careers, which is why you see their children being raised by nannies or the government, absorbing ideas and values contrary to family. That's why you see so many children with depression, because neither parent is present for them. The mother is busy working, and the father may only have one day a month to see them. Here, what matters is money. That's why they devalue domestic work, attacking women who stay at home to care for their children, a job every man appreciates because it's not easy but necessary. They see it as undignified because what matters here is money. The upcoming generation will only be machines of labor because the focus is on creating workers.
I don't know what I'm doing anymore. You've got a second chance, you could go home.
Welcome, brothers. In today's video, we'll be exploring the crazy requests from women, hearing what divorced women have to say, understanding why they are single. But before we dive in, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Share your comments with your experiences. This helps the content reach more men who might need it. Also, we're on TikTok. The link is in the description. So without further ado, let's get started.
That guy that you're still crying over did not want to be with you. He chose to leave you. He chose not to fight for you. He chose not to make it work. And you are still idealizing him in your mind as if he was the one. He's the one that got away. He was your soulmate. How could that possibly be the one? How could he possibly be your forever soulmate if he chose to not stay? He chose to put you back out into the world, which is essentially saying, hey, other guys, you can have her. Why? You should only want to be with somebody that wants to be with you. Yes, you can miss him. You can be sad and grieve the relationship. I get it. Breakups suck. But stop putting him on this pedestal in your mind that he was the person for you and he was the best thing that ever happened to you. He was great for the time. He was great. But stop focusing on only the positive, especially if the only negative thing, you're like, oh, but he was great. Our relationship was perfect. But in the end, he chose not to stay. In the end, he chose to go. So if that is the only thing that you need to rest your head on to move on from this guy, he chose not to be with me. He didn't want me. He's letting other men choose me. How am I still crying over him? Because right now he's out there living his life. He's working. He's scrolling through Instagram. He's choosing to not text you right now. He's choosing to not call you. He's calling his mom. He's going to the gym. He went to the grocery store. He's still out there doing stuff. And none of them have to do with you. So if this is the sign that you needed to move on from him, you're welcome. But if you're ready to really find your husband and like just put all this stuff behind you and date from a place of more confidence, go link my bio, sign up for my course, find your effing husband. It'll change your life.
Brothers, I've never been able to understand how women accept this advice. If you're selling me a course on how to get a husband, I at least expect you to have one, because if you don't, then what are you selling me? Smoke? Because if it doesn't work for you, who has the knowledge, how would it work for me? Brothers, the greatest power a man has over a woman is his attention. Women are addicted to attention. If you, as a man, see her pulling away, it might be because you're giving her too much attention. You should distance yourself, make her miss you. Remember, even your favorite dish, if eaten every day, becomes cloying. Learn to give your absence as a gift to those who don't value your presence. A woman becomes obsessed with a man she has to make an effort to keep his attention. If you're always there for her, then let me tell you, she'll get tired of you because she's not putting in any effort to make you stay, and she'll end up putting you in the friend zone. So, brothers, if she's acting strange, distance yourself. Remember that you are the prize. Learn to create absence.
After my divorce, I thought things would just get better. Time would heal all wounds, and after a certain amount of time, I'd just be back on track. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And I'm not saying that time doesn't help. I just wasn't doing the things I needed to do to heal and grow and move forward and actually move on from what had just happened. Because you have to grieve and heal and process emotion and figure out a plan for your next chapter. I wasn't doing any of that. So after longer than necessary, I did figure out how to put your life back together after divorce and do it in a really beautiful, big, wonderful way. This is just a reminder that if you're going through this right now, it's okay to feel the feelings and take some time. Don't forget that you've got to take the steps necessary to get to that next chapter. That's exactly what I do now. I help women start over after divorce. If you feel stuck and you need help with a plan, you can schedule a free 15-minute call with me, and we can kind of talk about where you're at and where you want to go and how I can help you get there. But no matter what, don't forget, it's gonna be okay. You got this.
Another dating coach, but at least this one is divorced, so at least she knows what she's talking about because she doesn't have a husband. At least what she sells, she delivers. Brothers, I can only tell every divorced man listening to this that you heal. My friend, you do heal. Today, you might feel like you failed or lost, but it all depends on how you look at it, because one thing you didn't lose is your freedom, the opportunity to start anew and do it better this time. One of the advantages of being a man is that if you take care of your body, improve your skills, work on yourself with a positive mindset, brother, you'll get through this setback. Why do you think you see women regretting their divorce more than men after years? Because you can take everything away from a man, but if he has the right mindset, he can get another woman, another house, more children, and keep going until he achieves a better life again. That's why, brother, I always say, your greatest priority in this world is you.
So today, I moved. And even though it may not look like I moved, because this is my pile. This is literally my pile that is going to be for Goodwill, but it just goes to show you that I had all this extra stuff that I clearly didn't need, but had it in here because I had a home and I had a house and I had the space for it. And I am going to a suite now, and a 2-bedroom suite, and so I was like, don't need this shit, it's all extra, even bags of clothes. And it's kind of crazy. I'm moving, starting a new journey, which I'm excited for. I'm scared. I don't know why I'm scared. I think I'm just do fine, but I guess maybe because I'm alone, I'm scared. But a new beginning. I was in a 10-year marriage. It just went from good to bad, and I wasn't happy anymore. We just went our separate ways. We just didn't have a relationship, and I was in this relationship, I think, for convenience. And it was just easy being in a relationship because we were already married. But today is a new beginning. And I just want to share my journey, and I'm hoping people will share their journey with me. If you've left a relationship, I mean, it's not easy. It is not fucking easy. But we got this. We fucking got this.
Brothers, you heard it right. I was in this relationship out of convenience because, for a woman, a man is just a number. Women are hypergamous by nature. They judge you based on what you can bring to the table. That's why I say men marry for love, while women marry for a lifestyle. A woman offers you monogamy as long as you can provide for her. In this case, two things happened. Either they didn't have a house, or she couldn't take it from him, so she had to move. The irony is that the woman complains about being afraid to start over, about how difficult her journey will be. How difficult can it be to start over when you take half of my money, in some cases take my house, and in others, I have to pay alimony and child support. With all this, starting over is challenging, especially when even the debts stay with the man. Brothers, this is the irony of marriage. It's an expense to get married and a loss for the man to get divorced. So, how can you be afraid to start over when you come out with more advantages than you entered? Choose wisely, brothers, because for a man, starting over is a daunting task.
I regret to inform you all that the incels have been incelling again. If you are frequently on Reddit, you might have noticed that ever since the API debacle and Reddit deciding to go public with its stock offerings, your recommended subreddits may have changed. One of the subreddits that's been popping up on my feed has been r/TrueRateMe. It's supposedly a spot where you can post selfies and get a real accurate rating from 1 to 10 as to how attractive you are. When you consider that the person posting the picture is consenting to being rated, it doesn't sound all that bad at face value. All of the posts I have seen have been absolutely drop-dead gorgeous women, and every time I've clicked on the comment section to see what they were rated as, it's been appallingly low. That set off alarm bells in my head, so I thought, there's gotta be more to this. So I looked a little deeper. I know this is hard to read because the text is ridiculously small, but this is their rating guide. 10, they say, is basically unattainable. They have Brie Larson at a 5.5, as well as Kiki Palmer. Here's the second half of the scale. I also noticed that if you overrate on that subreddit, you have like 3 chances to do so, and then they ban you. Now, right now, you may be thinking that I'm just overreacting. Maybe they're just really strict with their rules, and maybe they're very picky. Let me show you what I dug up on the history of this subreddit. You see, there have been articles written about this subreddit due to the ridiculous rating system. This is a conversation between a moderator of this subreddit and the person who wrote this article. It says, at TrueRateMe, high scores, particularly for women, are deleted by moderators such as myself, and people who give high ratings are permanently banned, while no ratings are ever deleted for being too low, too insulting, or too crude. This gives us the capabilities to, quote, gaslight women and control how they see themselves. He goes on to say that one of the other mods is currently being investigated for police for encouraging someone to unalive themselves. He goes on to say that this subreddit was created to, quote, encourage people to unalive themselves based on warped self-image. The internal lingo was that we could build this subreddit to be unalive fuel. He also says that a lot of the pictures that are posted there are actually stolen, and that practice is encouraged by the moderators. In short, that entire subreddit is a scheme to make women feel shitty about themselves. It is literally a subreddit that was created to knock women down a peg. So if you saw that subreddit and you got an icky gut feeling, your gut was right.
Brothers, there's nothing that affects women more than their image. Just look at this same woman who uses filters for her videos. She attacks men who choose to be alone, labeling them as incels. Now, I wonder what term is used for women who are single, who reach their 30s without a partner, or have no one. I don't know what they're called, but let's say they're hitting the wall, and the wall doesn't forgive. I've always noticed that people who complain or get offended are the ones who never meet the desired standard. She probably posted her photo, got a 4, and is angry because the blindfold has been lifted, revealing that she's not a 10. Yes, because all women think they're a 10, and when it doesn't add up, we see it in comments on Instagram. Women commenting on another woman's photo, calling her beautiful and a marvel, but you don't see a single comment from the opposite sex. This just indicates that she's not attractive. Everything a man does today, or any community where men are present, is attacked by a woman who wants to be involved where she's not called. Brothers, that's why I tell you women need external validation. That's why things like this affect them. That's why things like their physical appearance and age are something they are very conscious of because they know it's not enough to get the man they want.
All your lovely comments just made my day. And it's not to say that I want anybody else to be single for 10 years, but I had actually felt quite ashamed to admit that it had been so long. I'm wrestling because, you know, if you want to get with me, you have to come to my Saturday sourdough run. So I'm just going to make myself some toast. It's not something that I thought would endear me to date people. You know, when you say to somebody, I've been single for 10 years, surely that's a red flag. I've barely even dated. That's the other thing. The dating apps are just soul suckers. And somebody messaged me and said they're like a full-time job without the wage. And it is, when you go on those dating apps, you're just consistently giving a little part of yourself. See, this is the other reason why I'm single, because I've got a little monster down here. But it feels like you're giving a little bit of yourself every single time. Look. And every single time you're giving a little bit of yourself, and that can be very soul-crushing. And I want to keep my emotional well-being intact rather than to constantly give out. You know, you're giving out your story, aren't you, when you go on these dates every single time? And I don't enjoy it. I actually don't enjoy the dating part. I kind of want to skip to the good bit, if you know what I mean. I want to get to know you really quickly, and then I just want to feel comfortable with you. So yeah, dating's a jungle, and if anybody's got any tips, give me a shout.
Here's the advice. You've hit the wall, and the wall doesn't forgive. Women want to change their pieces when it's too late. It's been 10 years since they were in a relationship, and people wonder why they're likely divorced. Maybe they thought the grass would always be greener on the other side. This is because dating apps are ruining women's lives. Women only match with about 20% of men, meaning many are left out. The men they happen to like might not be interested in them, and when they decide to go on a date, they realize it will be tough because these men don't seem interested. That's why they say it feels like their soul is being drained. They have to retell their story over and over, see how men judge them. When they inevitably mention divorce, it's a red flag to men because we all empathize with a brother who has gone through a disastrous divorce at the hands of a woman who claimed to love him. As I said, they've hit the wall, and the wall doesn't forgive. We've read. Welcome, brothers. In today's video, we'll be showing how women feel depressed during Christmas when they attend family gatherings and get asked why they're still single. So, I hope you enjoy this special Christmas video. But before we start, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments. This really helps us reach more men who might need this content. Without further ado, let's get started.
Celebrating Christmas when you're single can be so difficult. And I get it. I'm doing it myself. You've got no one to buy presents for, you haven't got anyone buying you presents in return, you're going to go on social media, you're going to sit and look at everyone else opening the gifts off their loved ones, and you feel quite isolated and alone. I have to sit back sometimes and just think, keep your chin up, Soph. People are in worse situations than what you're in right now. And again, I know it's difficult, but you need to focus on the positive things that you've got going in your life. If you're lucky enough to have the majority of your family sat around you at a Christmas table, there's people who haven't even got that. You know, people who they love and care about. And, you know, I'd do anything to have my grandparents back around that Christmas table. You know, if you're going through a bit of a shit time and you're feeling a bit shitty and isolated and lonely, go and sit with your grandparents or sit with your parents and give them a hug and just realise that you've got so much to be thankful for, that you don't have time to sit moping about, you know, what could have been if you were still in your relationship. And at the end of the day, sometimes not being in that relationship is probably the best thing for you. But just keep your chin up, you know, we're all there for you. And yeah, try and have a good Christmas because, you know, you never know what's around the corner.
This is the woman who raises her middle finger when asked about her boyfriend's whereabouts. Christmas is a time of year when the feeling of being single is more pronounced, especially for women. It's the time when friends are with their partners, when you realize that at family gatherings, everyone has their significant others and children. It's tough because it's the moment when you feel like you should be with someone, the time when aunts ask about your boyfriend's whereabouts, when cousins see you as the woman who can't find a husband, where you end up looking like you have a problem. It's for these reasons that many don't even attend Christmas dinners. They don't want these uncomfortable questions or to be seen as the spinster aunt who only talks about an invented life.
I can't believe it, Jesus. I can't believe it, Jesus.
If you're still on the apps in December, why? What's the plan? What, you're gonna go on a first date on Christmas? You're gonna grab a drink on New Year's Eve? It's over. It's over for 2023. Accept your defeat with grace and dignity, like Marie Antoinette, who had her head chopped off.
I was trying to think of the best thing about being single during the holidays, and it's definitely not having to spend your money and buy your significant other gifts. But then I got to thinking, and I was like, well, you love spending money, you love shopping, and you love shopping for other people. So joke's on you, and you're very single.
Brothers, this is the month of the year when the most women are taking antidepressants. It's the time when most women feel depressed because of what they haven't achieved. Here, I wonder, if feminism tells them that they don't need any man, why do they feel like failures at the end of the year? Look at how this cheerful woman says she won't have a date in the last month of the year. This is how many women feel that they haven't succeeded in finding a partner. The wall, brothers, is real. They know very well that the wall doesn't forgive. These women know it better than anyone. Just look at this girl trying to buy gifts to try to fill a void she has during these dates. Wasn't it supposed to be about work, money, and luxury for empowered women? The warmth and companionship of a partner are irreplaceable, unlike material things.
I went to a Christmas party today, and the only single people at the party were me and 2 infants.
I challenge you this holiday season, whether it is at a Christmas party or at a holiday dinner or gathering, do not ask these single women in your life what their status is when it comes to dating. Don't ask them how dating is going. Don't ask them if they finally found somebody. There are so many better questions that you can ask than about who they're dating or if they're dating. Ask them about their hopes and their dreams and their passions. Ask them about their career and their hobbies. Women are so much more than who we're dating.
Honestly, this is just bad luck. Now my question is, who at a Christmas party goes around asking about dreams? They keep saying to ask another question because they're bothered when I ask, where's your partner? Time is slipping away. Or when mom tells her, you should lower your standards, daughter. They want to avoid all these uncomfortable questions that the family will throw at them. Many will say, it's my life. Nobody should interfere. But when you see your cousins having it all or your siblings with grandchildren, it makes you feel uncomfortable as the single sister. It starts to get annoying. Brothers, the wall doesn't forgive, and time doesn't either.
If you're single or you're spending time alone over the holidays, you gotta watch this. More specifically, if you don't want to be. I've been single for 7 years. I spent a fair few by myself, plus doing a bunch of other things. I'm gonna walk you through what you need to do so you don't end up just sulking the whole time. Number 1, easily the most important, you must get so robust in your brain that you are going to have strong boundaries with yourself about what you are thinking about. It is too easy to sit around and fantasize about how you want things to be or how you see things on some Christmas card. Now, listen to me. You have got to take what is going on in here so seriously. Everyone talks about having boundaries with other people. You must have them with yourself. And I get it. You might want the partner. You might miss someone. You might want things to be different. But just because this isn't your ideal scenario does not mean that it has to be a shit one. Billions of people, even those in the situations that you fantasize about, are not in their ideal situation. Because people don't experience things as we think they do. They experience them as they do. They have whole other lives and personalities and characteristics attached to it. So hear me so clearly. This this all starts with how you let things fester in your mind. Thinking this way only drains our energy, our attention, and our joy. It does not take us anywhere. Number 2, we're going to focus on creating memories for you to look back on. Now, we learn about things based on our frame of reference, and we create frame of reference through what we experience. It is more than okay to not have everything you want in place and to still find joy in that time. Think about what you would like to look back on in 2 or 3 months' time. Just some of the things that you've done for yourself before that you've been like, I'm really glad I did that. Part of what sulking and kind of moping around does is it kind of gives us a bit of a get out clause for putting an effort elsewhere. And of course, that familiarity is often preferred over maybe exploring something new. Grab a pen and paper and quite literally write out things that you enjoy doing. I posted it over on my Instagram. I've written up 101 different things that you can do if you're single or spending time alone over the holidays. If you go there, you can find it. And we're not just out here like trying to deny how you really feel. We can acknowledge that, okay, maybe you would prefer to have a partner. You do miss someone. Maybe you would like for things to be different. Cool. Let's acknowledge that and move on. Life is so much more valuable than just sitting around and like torturing yourself about how things coulda, woulda, shoulda been and not doing anything. Go and have some fun. Get this sad bitch outdoors. You're gonna make sure that when you look back in a couple of weeks that you're like, cool. It's not just going to be like some shitty Christmas because it doesn't look like some fucking Hallmark movie. You can make some nice food. You can take yourself on little dates. You can dance around to some music. You can wrap yourself up some little presents. Any sadness you feel, someone needs to bake a cake. And number 3, get some perspective. And no, I don't mean, other people have it worse than you. I mean, they do, but that's not what we're saying. I mean that this is going to be likely one of the best and biggest exercises of the relationship with yourself that you're ever going to have. I cannot say enough how perfectly okay it is that your life is not exactly as you want it to be. That's rarely ever going to be the case. So to do this, write out 5 different ways that this holiday season could go for you that you would be really happy with. We want to look to improve your mental flexibility to help you kind of see a few different perspectives. It can be really hard when a lot of those bigger emotions like the loneliness or the isolation come up, that they kind of then trigger a lot of thoughts and you kind of end up going into some dark pit corner of hell. And so learning how to separate that feeling from a projection of your future and a projection of your life is so important. We can actually work towards a lot more emotional regulation skills than just feeling like you're in some vortex of suffering. You can actually use this Christmas as a way to build building blocks for the rest of your life.
Brothers, more than helpful advice. These are tips from someone with a sad life. She says she's been single for 7 years, so she has quite a bit of practice. This woman doesn't look bad at all. But as she's surely waiting for that high-value man, she'll keep seeing the years pass, and she'll remain in solitude. This is the dilemma of the modern woman. She wants the best of the best, rejecting men with whom she could be having the best experiences during these holidays. But she doesn't want to be with average men. If you told her to go to a friend's gathering on Christmas, she'd reject it because her standards would probably lead her to a fancy restaurant or a trip. Brothers, when you hear her say, "Don't stay in a corner alone with your thoughts," she's probably regretting leaving a good man, thinking the grass would always be greener. The reality is that men are giving up on these women and prefer to go abroad. If you feel lonely today, go out with friends, hit a party bar, have dinner with your mother, but don't sit there feeling sorry for yourself. There's a world out there. You just have to position yourself where things happen. Today is one of the easiest days to go out with someone because many women are alone and seeking company. Just watch the next video.
Follow me as I spend Christmas Eve alone.
So what do all the people that are currently single and currently don't have family available do for Christmas Eve? Because I did my makeup, I got dressed up, and I am taking myself out to dinner. So I went to an Italian chop house in Ontario, California. I ordered the New York steak, truffle mac and cheese, and sauteed spinach. Mac and cheese was pretty good, but they overcooked my steak so much, so it wasn't the best. I'm home. I did it. Dinner was okay. Honestly, I often use food to cheer me up, and because the food wasn't that great, I'm a little down in the dumps, but it's okay. I think what I keep reminding myself is that, you know, a few years ago when I was 19, I was in a really bad place, and, you know, Christmas was just not good. I was alone, I was dealing with a lot, and so, you know, about 4 years later now, I am in a place where I'm able to rent a hotel room for myself for the night and go to dinner, take myself out to a nice dinner. So, you know, alone on Christmas Eve, but it's okay. Things have been worse. Things could be worse. So just reminding myself to be grateful. Anyways, Merry Christmas Eve to everyone. Things could be worse.
Believe me, it gets worse. It's sad how our society has changed so much for women and, consequently, for men. The ones with the green and pink hair ruined relationships for both genders, pushing women in this system to become so independent that they believe they don't need any man. Many became narcissistic, leading men to give up on them. Some choose to remain single or move to countries with more traditional cultures because women here think they are empowered. The problem lies in the fact that no matter how much money you have, even if you have the biggest house or the best job, it doesn't change the fact that you're spending Christmas alone. No material possession can replace a man's love for you, the feeling of belonging. If this woman were married, do you think she would be in a hotel? No, she would be at home with her children and a husband, waiting for her, happy to have a family dinner, giving thanks to God for a year together. But because the feminist movement tells her that the traditional man is the villain, that the important thing is not to feel oppressed, that they don't need any man, the result is a lonely dinner in a hotel room, cold and empty. Brothers, happy holidays. Remember, there's a world out there. Don't stay alone when you could be out with a woman abroad. If you have a family, cherish them, because time and the wall don't forgive. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. What do you think about these women spending Christmas alone? What do you believe are the reasons why these women are alone? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.